Good evening, everyone, and episode 7 of the Operation Red Duck series, an air combat war game featuring 1 in 72 what if models. So I've thought about the rules that I'm going to be using for this war game, and I've come up with some rules which follow what I call the theory of overmatch. So overmatch is basically the more advanced an aircraft is, or the more advanced a weapon system is, the more advantage it has over a technically inferior adversary. So it's the only way to really cater for 5th gen, 4th gen, 3rd gen and advances in military technology that I can think of. So I've got rules for air combat, and then I've got rules for airstrikes and rules for defence, which hopefully will allow me to conduct the war with 1 dice. So I've tried to keep it simple. So the basic theory is that it gives the advantage to the more advanced party, but it still maintains the role of the dice being supreme. So even if you are more advanced, you may find that you lose. And the basic theory is that the more advanced party has an advantage. Well, how does this work in practice? So if we take an air-to-air combat situation, an overmatch applies. So I use this one roll to determine whether there is success or failure for each party. So if you have overmatch, an example here would be a Su-57 fighting a F-16. So it's a 5th gen aircraft fighting a 4th gen aircraft. 5 to 6 will kill. 4 will cause the F-16 to be damaged and retreat. And 1 to 3 are basically no effect. And then the parties will separate for another round. Now, if you take this as well, an F-22 Raptor fighting an Su-35, the Raptor will find it easier to kill the Su-35 than the Su-35 will find it able to kill the Raptor. Now this applies as well to missiles. So if you take a PL-21 missile versus an R-27 missile, the theory of overmatch applies, so it relates to the weapon. The same would be true if you took an AMRAAM versus an R-27 missile. So even within the generations of my models, where you've got a 4th generation aircraft with a more advanced weapon like a Meteor versus a semi-active homing radar head, the advantage goes to the more advanced weapons. So I think it's a fair way of doing air combat. And the non-overmatch unit has to work harder. So let's take a MiG-23 versus a F-16. Whereas the F-16 can kill the MiG-23 just by rolling a 5 or a 6, the MiG has to roll a 6. 5 is damaged and 1 to 4 is no effect, so it has to work a lot harder. And then we have the theory of total overmatch. So for example, if an Su-35 is facing a C-130 Hercules, then the standard of the kill goes 1 dice lower. So 4 to 6 will be a kill, meaning it's much more easier to get a kill on a C-130 Hercules from an Su-35. And in that option, the Hercules can't fight back. So I've designed these rules to be simple to understand and hopefully fair. And basically, the less advanced you are down the chain, the harder you have to work to kill your opponent. The more advanced you are and the greater the level of overmatch, the easier it is. So an F-22 Raptor fighting a MiG-21, well, if it rolls 4 to 6, it's killed it. And I think that's a good way of reflecting technology in air-to-air combat. And now we'll look at rules for offensive raids and defence. So if an aircraft is conducting a strike on a SAM system or a target, this is a way of determining the overall effectiveness of that raid within 1 dice roll. So 6 fully destroyed the target And if it's a SAM system, it can't take any further part in combat. It can't roll any further. If you roll a 4 or a 5, then it's partial success. The SAM system gets one further roll, but that's it. And if it misses on that roll, then it's out the game. 1 to 3 is a complete mission failure. Now I've put here, bear in mind there may be 2 attacking rolls, and the reason for that is that if you are a SAM system and you are firing an aircraft or drone entering the range of your SAM system, you will be able to roll a defensive roll, and it will determine the success of your SAM system against that raid. So if you roll a 6 at an incoming drone strike, then you've destroyed that raid. That drone strike does not get to roll. If you roll a 5, then it's badly damaged but still gets to roll, and a 4 is partial damage but still gets to roll. And if it's a 5 or a 4 rolled, then the raid gets 1 roll against you. And if it's a 1 to 3 and your SAM system is ineffective, it gets 2 rolls. So let's take that as an example. An S300 system is rolling against a drone strike. 2, so it's been completely ineffective. The drone strike then gets 2 attacking rolls. 6, it's destroyed the SAM system. And if it rolled again, a 1. So it's a good way, I think, of taking into account an overall outcome of a battle. Let me know what you think.